What's up, guys? We're gonna try to finalize the engine mounts project on this 2014 Honda Pilot all-wheel drive. There's videos on the channel on how to do the transmission one, which is on that side, the passenger side, and the front engine, which is right under the fence down there. Now we're gonna get into the last one, which is the rear one. I have this professionals suggestions on how to do this. So they suggest that you take this plate off, which is a heat shield that is right back there. There's two bolts. It protects those aluminum hoses there for the, I believe, the AC or the yeah, that's AC piping. So that has two bolts, one in the top, one on the bottom. The one on the bottom is two nuts rather. I think they're 10 millimeters. They look very fun to get to. Everything looks quite hard to get to. Then we go in the back here and take the there's a bracket on the top, some bolts on the bottom. I would suggest that you refer to your new motor mount to see how many bolts you have to take off and where they're located. This drawing actually makes it looks way too easy. There's some more in the back here. Rear engine mount. Yep. So gotta take these four out. It looks like the rear ones are shorter than the front ones, and then putting it back together. Of course, there's your specs for how tight they need to be, so you can pause the video and take notes of that. So we're gonna get after it. We got the car up on jacks. I'm gonna remove the front passenger side tire to have some better access to getting everything in there. And again, you see where my light is shining down there. That's where you have to get to, actually right at the back where it's shining right now. That's the bottom bolt, but there's some cable going through there. I don't know how difficult it will be to get to. And then we will, move on from there. I think we have to drop the drive line or the drive shaft to get better access to the bottom portion of it, but we'll see. Might also have to remove that hose right there, this one that goes across or horizontally, excuse me, to be able to have some room to get to the bolts. Otherwise, maybe we'll take this bolt right here and be able to move those lines back and forth to get the extension in there, and hopefully that gives us enough to get where we need to get to. And here's the new one. The connector goes to the rear. Yes, they're electric ones. Have no idea why the heck they make them like that. Hopefully we don't have a problem getting that connector off from underneath the car. And then, like I said, look, there's your bolts that go through, so you can reference this to see it, have an idea where the other ones go. Then there's that bar that goes over the top here, and then there's a bolt that hooks onto bolts on, not hooks on, to a bracket that holds this to the engine at the top here. So hopefully we can get you good visuals of all that. Very limited space, and let's see what kind of adventure we're in for today. Well, I took the driver's side, the passenger side tire off, and you see that blue little head that's way back there? Camera's not really focusing on, right in the middle. That blue spot right there is actually the connector that goes to my freaking motor mount. So that motor mount might not even be working properly right now. Now, I don't know if that has to do anything to that has anything to do with the issue that I'm experiencing where my car is wobbling when it's under load. I mean, if you follow my videos, you know that I've done a bunch of videos replacing many of things in these cars, suspensions, sway bar links, stabilizer bar bushings, CV joints, transmission flushes, rotors. I've done so much to this car trying to get rid of that damn shake, and I can't figure out what it is. Somebody that I know that's really good with transmission work, he rebuilds them. He believes that it's the driver's side, the passenger side axle, because I got it from eBay. Although I got it from what's it called, Detroit Axle. I thought they were pretty reputable, and I complained to them, and they sent me a new one, but I'm still having the same issue. Nonetheless, we're gonna continue on because I already bought the mounts. I got 3 or 4 completed, so why stop now? We're gonna finish up the job. So that little plastic clip that you see there is gonna be the bottom bolt. Is in front of the bottom nut that we need to remove to get that shield open out of there. That shield that you see right above, right there, the metal plate right above that plastic piece on the top left. I don't know if that spins out or what, but it's got a cable going through it. We're gonna wrestle with it, and I'll let you know how I got it off. To get that plastic piece off that's back there, I ended up I went underneath the car and used a pry bar and forced it against the frame and went forward on it until it popped off. It has like two little plastic teeth, flaps like that with teeth on it to catch onto the threads of that bolt that nuts go through. Once that pops off, I'm using my extension 10 millimeter to get on the bolt, and then I'm right in front of the CV joint cranking away. It was pretty rusty, but it came out okay. It came out with no issues. So we're working on getting that off. Once we have that off, then that's gonna release that plate that you see right there, going upwards like I can't even point to it. So let's see, this thing here, that's a heat shield for, like I said earlier, for these hoses right here. So we're gonna release that, and that's gonna give us access to the motor mount, which is in this area, this black piece right here in between the catalytic converter and the firewall. So here's the heat shield off. This is the top bolt, bottom bolt. So in comparison to the drawing, it'll be just like this. So you can see that's the first step. Started this at 12. I'm probably about 45 minutes into it just to get 3 nuts and 1 clip out. The next step would be to remove these 2 nuts from the top here. Let's see if we have the space for it, and then we'll move on to step 3, which is these 4 bolts at the bottom. Already, as I said earlier, my the mount connector's already off for some reason. I don't know if I did that when I was messing with it last time and thinking I was going to get to it, but nonetheless, now we're gonna try to get our tools on there. I think these bolts are 17 millimeters or 14, one of the two. So we're gonna figure that out, and then I'll let you know how I got to them. We got to the one on the driver's side. The bolt is right down there. I use a swivel 17 millimeter socket and a couple of extensions to come up, and we were right in front of the those hoses there. Just be careful not to break those. And then from the second one, we're gonna be working on, it's right down below that hose on the left side. You can see that's the other bolt. I think we can access that one the same way without having to disconnect that hose that I'm showing right there on the top, or this one up here, which I saw a gentleman when I was looking for some advice, some ideas how to get this done. I saw a gentleman take those hoses, unclamp them, and then you lose some coolant or you have to cover it, blah blah blah. But so far it looks like it's going okay. We're gonna go and try to get that second bolt on the driver's side for that crown or whatever that thing is on the top removed and pull that up. So that's step number 3 now to get to it. So we're gonna keep moving along here, and let's see, let's go to the diagram and I'll show you what we're doing right now. Is working on this crown here, and this bolt, these 2 nuts are the ones that we removed. So we're gonna get those out of the way, and then let's see what step 3 would be. That's that, and then it looks like we're gonna have to go underneath and get to 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. It's showing underneath, but oh, okay, I see what it is. I think I've seen these bolts on the bottom, and I thought those bolts were to get this cross member off, but apparently it's 1, 2, and this third one we leave alone, and then there's 2 more on the front. So I'll get video of the underneath of the vehicle when we get to that one. We got our crown. This is what I'm referring to, this protector here, the crown. This is the what I did as soon as I took it off. I went on the back of it and I mark, or this is the rear. Yeah, that would be the rear side. So we'll be looking at it like this. As soon as I got it out, I went and marked it with an R for the right side. And I did get this out via the underneath of the car. There's this heat shield in there, and it goes in here like this. So that covers the heat from getting to the motor mount that will be underneath that crown. This is under your nut. So make sure you once you get your nut out, you're gonna feel this wobbling around. Take that out. Make sure you keep it to the side somewhere, don't lose it. So that's what we're gonna do. Bam, right there. This is out, and I'll show you how we got it. And it is a little tight. I don't have really high jacks, so in order to get to it, I stuck my hand. This is the drive shaft right here, and this is the exhaust. So I went in between those two, put my hand right where the light is coming through up there. So I just stuck my hand up here and then tilt it forward and slid it out. Now the bolts that I was talking about earlier are gonna be that one and this one right here. Those are the bottom 2 bolts for the mount. And then there's that crown one that's on the very top up there, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna access that one. The video that I saw, the one gentleman, what he did is he removed this bolt here for the subframe and that bolt right there. So he removed that one completely, and then he spun this one out slowly to be able to drop the subframe a little bit. But he did that with the intention to lower all of this stuff here, and then that will bring that down. That'll probably give you space. He also took these 4 bolts for the drive shaft off. Then there's a suspending or safety thing there, and then it goes all the way to the back. In the back you have 4 more bolts like that. What you have to do is put it in neutral because the rear is real tight to get to some of the bolts. You can put it in neutral and spin, and you can spin the drive shaft until you get to the bolts you need. I'm gonna do whatever I can not to do that, and see if I can accomplish all I need to do without having to mess around with lowering things that I don't feel that I need to do. Now, the one thing that I don't know is, am I gonna be able to accomplish everything and put in that new, well, number one, removing the old mount and putting the new one on without, am I gonna have enough room to do that without doing the steps that I mentioned, lowering the subframe? I mean, if that's the case, that's the case. I might just we'll see what we have to do here. But don't forget, you have to get some support once you're ready to get this guy up and out of there. So you have to put something under the transmission pan, the oil pan or the transmission. You can put a jack, car jack with a piece of wood, so you don't put the jack right on the metal, just to support it. So I'm gonna support mine to start taking out some of those bolts. So I'm also gonna take a look from the top here and see if I can find a way to get to that top bolt on the mount without doing too much crazy stuff. So that's where we are. We'll get back in a little bit once we figure out how we're gonna remove this, which is gonna go first. Okay, so we are past the monster. I was able to get myself in here. So this bolt right here is the one in the rear. So I was able to use this little cutout here of the frame to be able to put what is it called, like a pivoting or a joint extension like this with my 14, and then I don't know how long that extension is, but you just gotta find something that works to be able to get in that hole in there, that little cutout right here, all of this here. And you can, once you get hooked on, try to get it as straight as possible to avoid stripping the bolt, and then you can crank. It doesn't take that much force to take it off. I actually thought I stripped it, but it loosened up. And then I use a ratchet wrench, 14 millimeter, to be able to finish out getting it out. So one of these, then I got it out by hand. Now we got the four bolts that are on the top. I'm not so sure what these bolts are for here, so I'm gonna leave that alone for now, as I don't believe that these two here are the one with the blue lines are related to the mount. So that being said, I am going to go from the top, 14 millimeter socket with my big wrench here, I think it's a quarter, or the whatever the hell this is. This one here, I'm gonna go and reach down 1, 2 on this side and 1, 2 on the other side, and then that's gonna leave us to figure out how we're gonna get the motor mount out, whether from the bottom or from the top. That's gonna be the next challenge. All right, guys, we did it. A lot of work to get this. You have to get this from the underneath of the car on the right side of the drive shaft, meaning the passenger side. You have to go all the way across. Before you do that, you have to lift the engine a little bit with a wood, putting a wood block under the oil pan, so the bracket that comes over the top here comes up a little bit, and it gives you enough room to be able to slide this over. Then after that, you want to definitely get those bolts that I showed you earlier to drop the suspension. We'll go back under there quick. So you want to get these bolts right here. This guy's here. If I find my camera, right here. So the ones that we loosened up earlier, remember they were hooked up like this. You take that out. That's a 17 millimeter bolt. Take it all the way out until, like, definitely be careful, because you don't want to drop everything and break something. And I absolutely don't like the way that the steering column looks, because that pulls on the steering rack and everything, but I don't know that there's another way to get this done. So you have to get these bolts all the way out. They're pretty long, as far as you can get them, and then you're working up there. You can take this bracket out of the way because it's on the way. It just goes on these two bolts, two 10 millimeter bolts, and then you can push towards that side, the other side. So meaning, here's your drive shaft. There's the hole in between the shaft and the exhaust, and you want to work your way through there. You can see that there's some scraping up there. That's from the top bolt of the top part of the mount. I'm not sure whether the new one is compressed or expanded. We'll see how that's gonna play into this. And then that little bolt right here, that's for the there's a plastic piece there that holds the wire that attaches to the harness. So you want to get that out of the way so you can have freedom to move the mount around, and that you don't risk breaking the cable. But other than that, there's that. We're gonna get the new one, which is right here. That one is from Honda, the original one probably. Compare it, that everything looks the same. 2 bolts. You have your crown thingy right here. Got your pigtail, have it here. This one has like a little thing that you can slide over it to protect it. I think I'm just gonna take that out. I don't know that I need any more stuff in there. So the bolts on the bottom that the drawing that we went over earlier are for removing the plate that it sits on. So if you have the room, I mean, 3 of them are visible. The fourth one is like right underneath the gearbox down there. I forget the name of it. the transfer case, and I'm not sure that I could have gotten to it. So we're gonna go back and start wiggling this thing back in place, and hopefully we can get this done today before it gets darker than it already is. I'm about 4.5 hours into this. This job is tedious. It just, you don't have much room, but we're gonna try to get it done here quick. We're all about but done. The only thing we have left, I ended up having to remove the passenger motor mount because I wasn't able to raise the engine enough to be able to get the what's it called, the little top of the engine mount where it needed to be. So this guy right here, as you can see, this is dimpled in. The other one was fully extended, which meant it was kind of like maybe a quarter or a half of an inch higher. In order to get that done, I had to loosen the that support at the bottom that we did earlier to be able to get this one out. Put the new one in was the same process, a little tough, but we got it done. And then in order to get the to get this holes aligned, I used this punch, put it through there, and then just wiggle it around. Then once I found the screw hole, I put the screws in by hand. Same with the one on the top. I use a ratchet wrench again to get that, just kind of like put it where it belongs, and then start lowering the engine, and then tighten this bolts. I already have the crown that goes over the top here. The heat shield is on. That's all tight. As I show you, the only thing that we got left to do is securing this engine mount, because I had to move it in order to get more height. This is part of the other video that I did on how to do the transmission and passenger side. So once we get that done, we got to get the heat shield back in there, which is not that hard. 3 more bolts in the tire and we should be done. I don't think there's anything I'm forgetting at this point. Thank you for watching. Hopefully people get to this video, because there's very limited information on how to get this engine mount done, and it's very, very difficult. I've been out here for 7.5 hours just trying to, it's just so tedious, like the amount of technique that it takes to be able to wiggle everything out of place, especially that big engine mount, to bring it out from the bottom. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this can save you some money and some time trying to figure out how to get all this done.